Good morning, everyone. How y'all doing? Today is a gorgeous day. It is nearing the end of April, and we've had several days in the 80s, not quite hitting 90 yet, almost. And I think it's going to cool off next week, and then we're going to go right back up. And I've never done a tour of our front garden in April, and I thought I would show you some of the different plants that I've added to the front flower beds this year. I wanted to start out right here under the redwoods. Normally I have had, well, I shouldn't say normally. In the past, I have put lemon coral or lemon ball sedum around the border, and that has worked very well. I can keep it year round. Of course, it looks better in the spring and summer than it does winter, but this year I thought I would try my hand at some begonias. And I have to say, I am loving it. They have performed so well. I planted them during a time that all the nurseries said you probably shouldn't put them in the ground quite yet because we're still having some cold weather. But I haven't lost one, and I think they're doing real well. Now I have to say, the true test will be for the begonias that are on the outskirts of this side of the flower bed. During the height of summer, when the sun begins to set, it kind of comes across here, and at 6 o'clock, that can be our hottest time of the day. So hopefully, and they don't get a lot of sun during that time, but they will get some. I am hoping that they survive our summer. We'll see, but I'm loving the result thus far. And I also decided to add, I get the asparagus and the foxtail fern mixed up, but I added a few of those in the middle. My lemon lime heucheras coming back, except for one. And then I decided to add a few wizard, I think it's called wizard mix coleus. And then near the front of the curve of the flower bed, you will see some ranunculus that I also added this year. So I'm hoping those will bloom. We're kind of past that season, so far I'm not seeing any flowers yet, but we'll see if they bloom. This is the edge of our property line, which the edge of this area is west facing, and we have 3 camphor trees that were here when we purchased the house. Of course, not knowing what camphor trees do, I had no idea that their leaf drop after the winter was very significant, and that you will not see mulch in this area because the leaf drop is just, by the end of the day, there will be a massive amount of leaves. You can see this is one of the plants that I did not dig in and get all the leaves out of. What happens with these camphor trees, once they start dropping leaves in the spring, they will fill up under the roses, inside the geraniums, and I have to go in and dig them all out because I don't want them to stay inside and kind of, I don't know, fester disease or anything. Anyway, I planted these Olivia Rose Austin roses, I think it was 2021. And this is probably the first year that they are as full as they are. I did not prune them back, or how should I say that? I did not give them a hard prune during February when I normally do that because they were so small to begin with, and I almost lost a few of them. This next winter, I will definitely give them a hard prune. And you'll probably notice that I have Japanese beetles on these roses. I don't have them on any rose except for this one. I don't even have aphids, which is amazing, but I'm gonna have to find out how and why I get them on this particular rose and how I can keep them at bay. Even so, they are a stunning rose, and I just think they add so much to my garden. And then off to the side, you'll see the carding mill that we planted last spring. So this is the first year I've been able to see it in full bloom, and I absolutely love this rose. It is so stunning. I think I want to get more. They're just absolutely beautiful. The African daisies down here, I planted, maybe 4 years ago, and they are called Serenity Purple, except for this one. You can tell this one's different. I thought it was the same, but it's not. This one, see, camphor tree. This one kind of died off, and so I cut it back, but it must have self-seeded. I bought another one that I just haven't had a chance to get in the ground, but these do very well in our zone. They take the heat. They take our winters that can sometimes get into the 20s. So great addition. And when people stop by, they say, oh, it's the first thing I noticed were your purple daisies. The society garlic does extremely well in our heat. This is west facing, and they haven't bloomed yet this year, but I love the foliage. I don't care for the scent, but it's far enough away from our neighbor and us that I can enjoy the beauty of the plant without smelling it quite so much. Around the side here these are Grace and Grit roses from Monrovia, and I purchased these on clearance, and so they kind of look a little misshapen, but I absolutely love the color and the bloom, and they're a beautiful rose. Around the edge of this flower bed, I decided to continue the dianthus border that I have over near our front family room area, and I'll be showing you that in a minute. Because I've had so much success with that, I decided to add it right here. Do you ever have a flower bed that's just this continual work in progress? You're not sure what plants will be successful, especially if you have an extreme climate. This area behind me gets shade almost the entire day, except for a little bit of sun in the afternoon. And during the winter, that's okay, and the spring. But during the summer, whatever I plant right here has to be able to take extreme heat. And I think I know what I'm gonna put here. I'm a little on the fence, but I think I know what I'm gonna put. And I'll let you know about that here in a few weeks, because I believe only one garden center in our entire area carries what I'm looking for. My husband went ahead and sank all the stones, and we're almost ready to open the gate here in the back so I can have access to our raised vegetable garden. But I absolutely love how this area is turning out. And then off here to the side are my variegated hydrangeas, and look at all the buds. I am so excited, you guys, to see how they perform in this area. I have a feeling I might need to move the furthest one. It is blooming. I mean, it has set buds, but I can tell that the variegation isn't as striking, and it's not as full as these other two. However, I am going to wait for this season to be over, and I probably will not move them until about the one here in the corner. I probably will not move that until October. I wanted to show you part of the reason why I struggle with mulching. These little twigs here, I can fill up a full 3 gallon, and that's a lot, just with these in this area. I only grabbed a handful. But what happens is when you combine all this with the leaves down here, it just, for me, looks so messy. And when I try and either blow or rake it up, I land up raking up all the mulch. Here you go. You can see them all. They're just, and I don't know what it is about the camphor tree that makes these drop. But anyway, every year, come spring, I have to pick all these up, and I just wanted to show them to you. You'll even see like maybe some little stray ones that have already fallen since last night. Last fall, I planted yellow violas and white pansies in our 2 front urns here, and they performed amazing. What I decided to do this year is Supertunia Mini Vista Pink Star, Purple Prince Alternanthera, and Licorice Helichrysum. And yeah, I know it looks pretty full, so we'll see if these kind of take over. This is our last flower bed that I wanted to show you here in the front of our house. This area faces south. This corner right here gets morning sun. You can see the sun starting to come up over the house. And this again is one of those areas or flower beds that I have struggled from time to time. If these hydrangeas perform well this season, because this will be our first full season with them in the ground, and I'm hoping that they do. I think maybe I've got a winner for this corner. I have 3 Let's Dance Blue Jangles in the corner, and they have all set bud. In the front, I have 3 of the early blue hydrangeas that I transplanted from our back garden, and they seem to be doing well and beginning to set bud as well. Intermixed of a stilby that I planted, and I have never planted that before. We will see how that does, but I'm hoping it does well. I think I have it in three different spots scattered in front of the hydrangeas. The dianthus, I believe we planted that in the spring of 2021. These, again, is one of those plants that has just performed phenomenally for us. It gets hit with the sun in the afternoon. This part of the garden slopes just a bit, and so these, again, I've had from Proven Winners Rockin' Fuchsia Salvia, and they're performing amazing. So this area can, when we have a rainy winter, stay very wet. So they can take a lot of water here in Zone 9, and they can also take extreme heat. Here in the back is the Limelight Prime that I had in a few different spots. This by far is the best it has ever looked. So I'm again super excited to see what it does come late summer and fall. This area of our flower bed looks rather empty, and that is because I lost 2 bandana pink lantana and a butterfly bush, a dwarf butterfly bush. I did move some butterfly bushes from the west side of our garden, and those seem to be doing very well. And I did take 1 miscanthus grass out that was just in front of the fountain here, and I put it on the west side, and I like that it's opened it up a little bit more. This is my sunshine ligustrum that I just think it adds that super bright pop of yellow, and it does very well again with our sun. I can't express to you just how hot it gets here. I have friends that live in the East Bay of San Francisco, where it can get very hot. And I also have friends in the Sacramento area, specifically the Davis area, and they get hot just like us. The difference is they all cool down in the evening, and for us, we just don't. In the height of summer, when it's its hottest, it will cool down to maybe 89, 90 degrees. If we're lucky, 82, 83, and that's not very cool. So the plants that I have in my garden have to be able to withstand the evening heat. Even though the sun isn't shining, it has to withstand the evening heat. The rose tree that looks like it's out of control is a Strike It Rich rose. And I don't know if I can I get in there and bend this rose over? Hang on, let's see here. So you can get a look at it. Isn't she beautiful? She's so, so pretty. This is the largest I have ever seen it. And I've never seen it grow like this before. And I really didn't do anything different. Honest to goodness, I pruned it back. I gave it a good hard prune this spring. So when all these come down, it'll be more shapely when all these bloom. I wanted to tell you about all of our trees here in the front, but before I do that, I did want to show you that this is the one flower bed near the front here that I actually can use mulch. And what we typically lay down is a compost. The reason why I can do that here is because when it's windy and all the redwood needle leaves fall down underneath the redwoods and the camphor tree leaves fall, they're far enough away that this area isn't messy. And so I do know that it makes a difference, and I do know that it helps the plants, it helps the soil, and obviously it looks stunning when you put mulch down. I did want to show you that I do mulch some flower beds. I briefly wanted to tell you about all the trees that we have in our front garden. We have 12 total. We have 3 redwoods, and I'll show you all of them in a minute, but we have 3 redwoods, 3 camphors, 2 Japanese maple, 2 crepe myrtles, and did I say the Avondale redbud? I might have, I'm sorry. And 1 Chinese pistache. If you pan down our street, the city, when they built this neighborhood, lined the park strip, that's what I call it, the park strip, with Chinese pistache. They are all female. Some of them might be different trees because this is an older neighborhood. Ours in particular fell many years ago. It split 6 ways, went across the front of the street on our house. 1 went through the redwoods and 1 went through this Japanese maple near the kitchen, and I almost thought I lost that tree. So we landed up replacing it ourselves because that was during the time when a lot of cities were having budget issues and they were not going to replace the tree. So of course I, asked my husband, I said, we're going to have to just, make the investment because I didn't want to start with a small tree. And I think this tree was almost $300 when we bought it many years ago. And we landed up getting the male version, which is not quite as messy as the female. Stunning tree in the fall. I'll make sure I put a photo of it up. It turns this reddish orange. It's absolutely beautiful, and the shade is second to none. And so many people here in the Central Valley have these trees because they do perform so well. I've talked enough about the camphor trees. They are an evergreen, so they never completely lose all their leaves. We thought about getting solar for our house many years ago, and every company that comes through says all your trees have to come out, all of them, because we would have to put the solar on the front of our house, and there too many trees block it, and that's just, I couldn't bring myself to take all the trees down for solar. So yeah, we pay a high PG&E bill here for the summertime. The Japanese maple near our front is probably, what, 30 feet tall and 30 feet wide, I would say, probably. I did not prune it this year. I think they call it lacing it. I do need to do that next year because it's a little too thick for me. I like it a little bit more wispy, but it's a stunning tree. It's absolutely beautiful, and I'm so thankful for the previous owners who planted all of these. This one near our kitchen, the previous owner told me that when she bought it, the tag said red, and I don't know if they bought it during the winter when there was when the tree didn't have any leaves, but she said it has been green ever since. So maybe it was mislabeled. And then right above me are the 3 redwoods that again provide amazing shade. Probably not a tree that I would put in my landscape. They do consume a significant amount of water, and they drop needle leaves when the wind blows, and those are not easy to get up because they kind of stick to all your plants. And but again, they were planted probably 30 years ago, and again, I'm just not ready. It's not something I want to take out, so we live with it and work around the mess and enjoy the shade that it provides. This is the Avondale that we bought, Avondale redbud that we purchased a year ago from Lowe's when they were having their huge spring, early summer sale. I think I got 2, and I gave the bigger one to my mom. This is the first full season that it has put on growth, and I got to see all the blooms, and I think I showed you that in one of our other videos. A completely different shape of tree than our Oklahoma redbud, but I do love it here. It's not quite, it doesn't block the windows, and I definitely love the leaf structure, and actually it looks like it could use some iron. I'll come back in a few months and show you what the front garden looks like when all the agapanthus are in full bloom, and hopefully by then even the begonias will be that much more fuller and beautiful. So happy with the begonia border. I couldn't love it any more than I do, and I like the red leaf foliage contrast with all the bright and deep green that I have with the Japanese forest grass. And then of course the dianthus, probably, I don't know if it'll be blooming quite as much as it is right now. This is when it gives its just this beautiful show of blooms in the spring. And I have to say, for us, that dianthus, they do bloom even in the winter sporadically. It won't be quite as many blooms. It'll have like one or two, but they will push out a bloom or two. But this is the biggest show that they give, is during the springtime. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.